Ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to you. You're watching Encounter. My name is Roshan, and the guest today is Kevin Gaskell, a CEO, a managing director. He's an author. He is a philanthropist, and we have the pleasure to welcome him in the studio of the EMBC today. Kevin, a very warm welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
You have worked at BMW, Lamborghini, Porsche. You have even worked in the boat industry.
Yep.
Most of these companies, you have turned them around and upside down in the right direction. Your career, your success began in your early 30s, if we can put it this way. Can you please tell us how it started for you? Because we know that you started at BMW, and but before this, in terms of your studies, in terms of how did it lead you to where you were in your early 30s?
I was an engineer by training. I always wanted to be an engineer. I studied engineering at university, and then I became fascinated by business. And I was very lucky because my university offered me a scholarship to study for an MBA. And so I did my MBA. I worked as an engineer for 3 or 4 years. Then I studied accountancy. So I got to the point where I could read a blueprint and I could read a balance sheet. And then Porsche actually were looking for somebody to help to run their commercial department. I joined Porsche when I was 27, spent the next 5 years there, learning about the business, understanding business. And when I was 32, the business was in some distress. And to my surprise, I was appointed managing director. I inherited a very difficult situation. I inherited a very passionate team, but a team that had lost its way. And my job over the next 4 years was to refocus the team, refocus the brand, and we took the business from what was number 31 out of 31 brands in customer satisfaction to number 1, and the financial performance followed to the point where it was really an exciting ride.
Well, that's not any brand, it's Porsche.
That was Porsche, yeah.
What was the hardest thing for you to do in the decision making from moving from number 31 in terms of customer satisfaction out of 31?
Out of 31.
To move to number 1.
Enabling the whole team to believe that we could achieve it, because it was such a long way. It appeared to be such a long way. The hardest decision for me personally was when I had to cut the costs of the business, and I had to fire 50% of the company. It was so difficult. It was really terrible. I knew these people, and I remember I fired half the company, and I went back into my office, I locked the door, and I cried my eyes out. And it was just horrible, horrible, horrible. Then it was a case of saying, you know, we owe it to those people who've left to build something that's really special. And so we spent the next 5 years rebuilding the business and allowing people to dare to dream of what could be possible. And we could really take the business to this level. And then having fun as people followed the plan that we developed together to create something truly special. We became the most profitable brand in the market. We were number 1 in customer satisfaction. And it's quite an extraordinary turnaround. Did I ever believe we'd get there? I never allowed myself to believe it, but we pushed for it.
But that would have been my question. But for you to believe from number 31 to number 1, the leader has to believe in the mission and vision so that the people working under can also indulge into that belief.
Yes, of course.
But did you believe it?
I believed that it was a target. I believed it probably could be possible. I'm a bloke, I'm a man, and in my own private time, I would have concerns about how can we actually get there. But, you know, every time you speak to people, you speak about it being a dream, being possible, and people come with you on the journey. And we had an astonishing journey, and we had a lot of fun. I look back now, and, you know, the strongest bonds are forged under the highest pressure. And we have an extraordinary friendship still amongst that team of people who led the brand to a new level.
I was lucky enough to attend your masterclass in Mauritius, an initiative of the Whitefield Business School. One of the main things that you explain is some companies are not evolving fast enough to survive in the industry. Mm-hmm. And many companies say they are fine, they are okay, they're surviving. But that's not good enough according to what you shared with us.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, most companies think of tomorrow as today plus a bit. You know, this year we'll grow at 3% or 4%, and we're doing okay. And I say, you know what? if you're doing okay and everything's under control, you're not moving fast enough, because the market is changing, industry is changing, commerce is changing, digitization, internationalization. Today, you can be a global business from your bedroom. You know, digital businesses grow up, but my smallest business is a market leader. We employ 5 people, 5 people. But we dream about being the number 1 in the market, and that's what we've created. So I speak to businesses today and I say, stop talking about 3% growth. Imagine 30% growth. How would you achieve 300% growth? And they look at me and they say, you're crazy. I said, no. Let's just dream. What would you do to achieve 300% growth? If I gave you all the resources you need, whether that's money or people or technology, what would you do? And you get people thinking and thinking, and we become creative. And we start thinking beyond. We stop looking for a small increment in market share, and we look for a large opportunity share. Let's look at new opportunities, new markets, new ideas, places where other people don't look. Look there, really look there. And before you know it, you're moving into a new space. And you know, we talk about the new leaders, the Amazons and the Googles. They didn't exist 20 years ago.
No.
But what they've done, they've looked at a new place. And I say to people now, if they're existing businesses, look at a new place. Let's imagine how we can evolve this business. And it's getting people to think. You know, people are incredible.
That's a new psyche. When you're able to think without any limitations, then your imagination just goes, it works freely, and you're able to pick up creative ideas.
Yeah. It is. It's about saying most limitations in this world are self-imposed. People put them on themselves, or they give themselves a target. I'm going to grow 5%, or I'm going to move to here. Take the target away. Because if you hit the target, you become satisfied. No, take the target away. Just grow, just develop, just move forwards. And don't put a limitation on it. I say to people, take the limitations away. And they say, you're crazy. I said, no, I'm not crazy. I'm just thinking in a different way. So I think I've now built 17 companies. And everyone remembers me for the Porsche, BMW stuff.
Of course. But you also invested a lot in new startups.
Yeah.
One of your companies is one of the best equity companies in the UK.
Best private equity performance of the year. Yeah.
And also you invest a lot in startups.
Yes. And often it's a fresh idea or new idea. But what I'm looking for is that creativity, that imagination, that dare to dream mentality. You know, we could do this. We don't know how. Often we don't know how. The challenge is to encourage people to build a plan to get there. And before you know it, you've got a very exciting business.
Let's imagine a scenario. A person is doing a business. The business model has not evolved for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Let's say the products have evolved, but the way of doing business has not evolved. How can you convince that person that there is a need for change?
You know, I have some tools I use where we go, I would take the team off site. And we'd go in a room and we'd say, right, let's just think about where we're at. Let's be honest. And the key word is honesty. Many businesses confuse themselves. You know, our numbers are doing this. No, stop looking at the numbers. Where's the market moving? Where's the opportunity moving? And so I try to open the box of ideas. I try to open the box of people's mind and say, let's imagine what we could be. Let's play this game. Let's have a laugh. We could fly to the moon if we want to. How do we do it? And it's about just identifying opportunities. And before you know it, when you break them down and look at them carefully, and I say to people, right, which ones of those are under your control? Oh, strangely, all of them.
Yeah.
Right, which are the priorities? This one, this one, or this one. Why don't you do it? Well, we know we should, but, yeah, okay, so let's do it. And the key is getting the energy focused on the things that will make the difference.
Which are priorities?
Which are the priorities? And I always say about 25% only of the things that most businesses do are real priorities. So let's focus on those.
This is what I find very interesting, is how do you convince those people that they can actually do it when they're finding excuses or finding reasons not to do it?
Because we start to do some things, we'll play around, we'll experiment. And before you know it, when you get a team from the company, and often the people in the company know what needs doing, but they've never done it. because my manager wouldn't let me, because I didn't have the, no, hang on, take those excuses away. Let's try it, let's do it. And once you get people moving, and they start having fun, and they start seeing results, the energy builds. And this is how we've built great companies. It's about having fun.
Are you still having fun?
I'm still having fun. I love it. I love building companies.
Where do you see yourself in 5, 10 years?
I think in 5 or 10 years, I'm currently chairing 5 companies. I don't want to be doing that in 10 years' time. I want to be focusing on speaking and writing books and doing my expeditions and other things. But I enjoy the speaking and writing books now. I've spent 30 years as a CEO. It's a long time.
It's a long time.
I now need to move on and do other things.
So you're reinventing yourself?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a reinvention. It feels like an evolution.
Because you're sharing what you learned from your own experience.
Yes. Yes, I've made more mistakes than anybody else I know. But, you know, the key is never to see that as losing. There's a great phrase which Nelson Mandela used, which is, we never lose. We either win or we learn.
Yeah.
And so every time it's gone wrong, I've used that as a learning experience. And I have a business right now where we are fighting. We're undercapitalized. We need new cash. And the team get a little bit despondent at times. We say, no, guys, this is part of the journey. It's a great business. We're really driving the business. We need to raise some cash. Okay, it's tough at the minute. But let's see that as learning for the future. Because we'll raise that cash. And you will learn so much in the 6 months it's taken us that the next time you have to do it, it'll be faster, sharper, better. Let's see it as an opportunity to learn and not as a threat. It's a mindset. It's a mindset.
You're the author of Inspired Leadership.
Yes.
Is that based on your own experience from your work, but also from your life, from your personal life?
Yes. You know, people kept saying to me, why have you never written a book? This is about 2 years ago. And I said, well, I'm not an author. I don't feel... And they said, oh, you know, the stuff you talk about, we'd really like to take it away.
Put pen to paper.
Put pen to paper. And so I sat down and I found it really hard going. So I found myself a ghostwriter, professional writer, and I spoke it and he wrote it. And by doing that together, we created the book. And the book is Inspired Leadership. It's all my stories, all my models, all my learning. And a great guy called Tim Phillips, he actually turned it into English. And it's great. It's selling really, really well. Anybody who wants to grow a business or start a business, get my book. It's all in there. It's
highly
all
recommended.
All
definitely. There's another aspect of you. You like adrenaline. You go hiking in the North and South Pole. You play guitar in a rock band.
Yeah.
You're also preparing to cross from Mexico to...
No, from Europe.
From Europe to Caribbeans, rowing.
In a little rowing boat.
In
little rowing boat.
a team of 5 people.
Team of 5 people.
You also go hiking on the highest peaks in the world.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to step outside the work environment. And if we're climbing one of the biggest mountains in the world, you can't be thinking about work. You're focused on what you're doing because you need to be safe. You need to make sure that people around you are safe. So it's a very focused environment. We're going to be 50 days at sea in a rowing boat that's no bigger than these 2 chairs we're sitting on. There's no space. There's no rescue. There's no security. We are just in that boat. And we're doing it to raise awareness of the issue of plastics in the ocean. Plastics are killing the oceans. And so we thought, what can we do to raise some money to support the foundations which are changing this? We said, well, let's row across an ocean. So it seemed like a good idea. And so that's what we're doing. We set off in December. We'll arrive in the Caribbean in about February. We don't quite know when, but it's going to be an adventure.
Kevin, you're already a very successful businessman, author, speaker. Why are you taking the trouble to cross from Europe to the Caribbeans in a bid to sensitize people about plastic?
Because I believe it's such an issue for the planet. Our project is called the Ocean 5. There are 5 oceans on Earth. So there are 5 of us in this boat. And we passionately believe, you know, the latest report says that by 2050, there will be a greater weight of plastics in the ocean than the weight of fish.
That's
That's
disgusting.
just extraordinary. And I don't think people get it. And you know, we talk about carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, the greenhouse effect, absolutely. But also, underneath that, we've got the oceans. And the Earth needs the oceans. Without the oceans, the Earth will die. And the plastics are killing the oceans. And so we want to just do our little bit, our simple step to support that change and raise awareness. And you know, it's quite interesting. A lot of companies are coming involved with the Ocean 5 project. And I'm really grateful to them because they're enabling us to promote this thing and you know, to raise the money to change regulations and encourage the intelligent use of plastics. I'm not saying ban plastics. You'll never ban plastics.
No.
But let's find intelligent use and recycling of plastics. And that's why I'm doing it. I'm passionate about it.
Don't you think that one day a person will come up with an invention and clear up all the plastic in the oceans one day?
I hope so. I hope so, because we need to do something. I mean, you know, recently they put a submersible down to the deepest point in the oceans, and they saw something, they couldn't understand what it was. They thought it was a fish. When they got closer to it, it was a piece of plastic. The deepest point in the ocean.
That's how bad the situation is.
That's how bad it is. So let's do something to change it. So that's why I'm doing it. And am I looking forward to rowing a boat 2 hours on, 2 hours off, 24 hours a day for 50 days?
When do you sleep?
In the 2 hours.
That really changes your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So you'll be completely disconnected from everything you do for 50 days?
Yep.
From all your businesses,
Yep.
from all the talks? And
Yep.
that's very commendable. Well done.
It's peace and quiet.
But as you said, it's something that requires your full focus. So you're able to shift. And in fact, you're training yourself to be able to do something.
Yes.
And also training your mind to focus on the only thing that's important as of when you're doing it.
When we're out in that ocean, there is no rescue.
It's so dangerous
It's
also.
up to us,
Yeah.
2,000 kilometers from shore. It's up to us to survive.
And very deep.
Yeah. Deepest point, I think it's 8 kilometers deep. Long way down if it sinks.
All right, let's come back to businesses and how you have been successfully managing them. You give a lot of importance to the war room,
Yes.
which is, if I can explain to the viewers, is getting everyone involved, setting deadlines, and having all of it set on a wall,
Yes.
which is visually understandable for everyone.
Correct.
One side is where it starts, middle is the process, and at the end is if you've completed.
Yes.
Is that a sort of project management?
Yeah, it is project management. When we grow a company or turn a company around or change a business, I break it into 3 pieces. First is commit. Are we actually determined we're going to do this? Because if you're not, don't bother. But if you are, then let's truly commit to it. Second piece is connect, and that's where the war room comes in. War, W-A-R. It's a war room because this is like a war. And this is about connecting everybody in the organization to one plan, to one vision of success. And this is where the strength comes from. If I can connect everybody, if my job as a leader is not to be a genius, it's to be a genius creator. So I encourage everybody to use their genius, their piece of genius, to help us to transform a business. And we make this very visible. We make it very open. We have one version of the truth. There's no secrets. Anybody can come into the war room, come and have a look. I'll walk you through it. You walk yourself through it. We show it to visitors. We don't have secrets. This is where we're going. Come with us on the journey.
In doing so, are you empowering people working
Oh,
for you?
absolutely.
What is the impact of empowering employees?
The first impact normally is one of a little bit of fear and trepidation. Second is, I say, I don't mind if you make a mistake. I'm not expecting you to get it right from day one. What I'm expecting you to do is be part of the team. Come and join the team. We'll learn together. We'll grow together. We'll coach you, but you know how to be a journalist better than I do. So if I was running a broadcasting company, I wouldn't try and teach you how to be a journalist. You could tell me what you need to be a great journalist. And then my job is to create the culture and the structure so that you can be a great journalist. And he can be a great cameraman. And he can be a great producer. That's my job as a leader. So in the war room, we show how all of these pieces come together, and it allows everybody in the organization to say, right, I do this role. I see how I contribute. Got it. And it takes the fear away. I see. People are not expecting me to change. They're expecting me to use my knowledge to help the business to change. Wow, that's exciting. People are listening to me. And I'm only a journalist. There's no such thing as an onlyer. No such thing as an onlyer. Everybody has a role to play. And so this is what we do. We encourage people to be part of a great team, creating a great company.
Does it mean that when you're empowering them, do you have to pay them more, or is it more rewarding that they feel more involved in the business?
It's not about paying more. It's not about motivation. Motivation is, I'll pay you a bit more, and you're happy for a month. It's about inspiring people to say, I'm really part of this. I can really make a difference here. And when the business is successful, sure, we reward people. Yes, we do. But it's not about short-term motivation. It's about long-term inspiration. And letting people come in the morning thinking, you know, we're building something really special here. And I'm part of it. And that's why I enjoy coming to work. And that's why I want to work here. And I'm really happy that we're creating something very, very special.
That's a very fine line between motivation and inspiration. How do you ensure this, especially for people watching? Are you saying that, okay, I can motivate you to work? How can you ensure the long-term inspiration of someone?
It's about enabling everybody in the company to understand what that vision of success looks like.
So you have a very important role to play in this. Because
Yeah,
when you
absolutely.
said earlier you would help me be a better journalist or help somebody else be a better cameraman, at the end of the day, you're helping one another as one of the leader of the business, is you help people be the best they can be at their jobs.
Yes, but to come back on what you've just said, I'm not helping you to be a better journalist. You're a great journalist. You know what it takes to be a great journalist. What I'm saying is I give you the freedom, the authority, the accountability to develop along this line, because we want to be in this situation, the best broadcast company in the world. What does that look like? And then I expect you to find out what that looks like, to look at other examples, to bring those into the business and drive that forward. And if you're doing that as a journalist, and he's doing that as a cameraman, and he's doing that as a producer, together we build a fantastic company. So it's not me teaching you how to be a better journalist. I don't know how to be a better journalist. My job is to create the culture and the structure and the opportunity for you to be a great journalist.
And you think everyone can do that?
I do. I genuinely do.
That's why you have inspired leadership.
Yeah.
Also. Another aspect of it is how you deal with people within the job, the work spectrum. But do you go beyond it and outside? Do you socialize with people you work with? Do you worry about their families? Or do you go the extra mile to ensure that they are happy with their job?
Yes, I think so. The most recent example was the boat company, Fairline, where I was CEO for a couple of years. And we turned that business from 10 years of losses into profit in 14 months. And the best day we had, seriously, the best day we had, was we opened the factory. We had 7 factories. We built big boats, $5 million boats. We opened the factory so that the team in the company, the guys building the boats, the boat builders, could bring their family in and show them what they built, because they were so proud of what we were creating. So we had this wonderful day where everybody's families came in, and then we had a big barbecue, and I took the rock band along, and we played. And it was about saying thank you to the team, but thank you to the families. Because ultimately, you know, work is work, but our life is about our family. So yes, families are so important.
Kevin, it has been a pleasure to hear you share your insights and wisdom and all your experience over the years. And a big thank you to Whitefield Business School for bringing you over to Mauritius. And I hope you come again very soon.
I will.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the end of this episode of Encounter. If you have any proposals, suggestions, or inquiries, drop an email. It's encounter@mbc.itnet.mu. Until the very next program, goodbye.